I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and today we have some Nintendo titles on the Retro Hunting Adventures, DS and GameCube games, after these introductory words from my good friend Megaran.
Yo, this is MegaManFan, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
We're starting out today with Freestyle Street Soccer, which claims to be a Blockbuster exclusive, although I don't know if that means it was available for rental at Blockbuster or if it was only sold at Blockbuster. It's always unclear with these sort of things. It also claims to be the first ever arcade street soccer game. Well, we'll just see about that, but first we have to make sure the disc is in okay condition. It doesn't have any deep gouges or scratches, so I have a feeling it'll work, but there's only one way to be sure. Oh, and this manual has been crunched to hell and back. It was actually put into the case backwards because somebody was trying to flatten it back out again, but hey, at least the manual's in there. It's a lot more than you get these days with a lot of GameCube games, so I'm happy that it's complete. Apparently outside of North America, this was known as Urban Freestyle Soccer, and it was published on just about every platform of the day. It came out on mobile phones, if you can believe that, and it also came out on Xbox, PlayStation 2, and of course GameCube, with a North American release January 27th, 2004 on Xbox, and February 12th, 2004 on GameCube, before coming to the European Union later in 2004, and then eventually ending up on Microsoft Windows as well. So this game got around quite a bit, and it offers multiple different options, from classical matches to longer street challenges to turf wars. It's all over the place with what it's trying to be. But one thing I do appreciate about this game is that, unlike a lot of soccer games, it's very quick action. You're not playing on a huge pitch where you have to wait long periods of time to get it from one player to the other as you try to approach the net and score a goal. Here, everything has been compressed down into a small play field, and it's not just about the goals that you score in the net. It's actually giving you points for doing tricks with the ball, defending well, taking shots, stealing the ball from your opposing team. So you've got a constantly updating score at the top, which I suppose prevents anything that would end in a draw or a tie, because you could always look at the amount of points scored and still judge who won the game, even if nobody actually got the ball into the net. So there are some things about this that I very much appreciate as a casual soccer fan, although it doesn't seem that the game got very good reviews. 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. According to Metacritic, it was not well received. I disagree. I like this. It was a soccer kind of day because I also picked up 2002 FIFA World Cup, or FIFA World Cup 2002. Probably going to file it under F instead of under 2002 because I already have a 2006 FIFA World Cup, and that's filed under F as well. FIFA is the important part of the equation here. And once again, the box is certainly doing its best to advertise that it's a game that's the only game that represents the FIFA World Cup. Everybody wants to be the only whatever. The only freestyle soccer, the only FIFA World Cup, the only this, the only that. According to Wikipedia, this is the second EA Sports World Cup video game and was released for GameCube, Windows, PlayStation, PS2, and Xbox, so this game got around quite a bit. And they also say it's alternatively known as both 2002 FIFA and FIFA 2002, so they're just as all over the place with it as I am reading the title and then deciding it should be the other way around. The game is considered to be an amalgamation of the engines from FIFA Football 2002 and FIFA Football 2003, for whatever that's worth. And it got fairly good reviews, unlike Freestyle Street Soccer, The PC version, 79% on Metacritic. PS2, 76%. GameCube, 73%. PlayStation, 68%, which really isn't surprising. You would expect that to be the lowest rated version, given the horsepower of the PlayStation was probably not up to snuff compared to the other systems on the list. Oh, pardon me, those scores were from Game Rankings, not Metacritic, but the Metacritic scores are pretty close to the same. Anyway, I can say this is a successfully tested and working game, so I think at this point we'll just move on to the next one, which is NFL Blitz 2002, which confused me at first because I already had a title called NFL Blitz Pro, so I didn't realize there were multiple games in the NFL Blitz lineup for GameCube, but it seems that there was probably a version each year for a few years, and this is one more in the series, complete with disc and manual in the case. Always good to see that. Now, compared to the other games we've talked about so far, the Wikipedia entry for this one is pretty short. It notes that the Game Boy Advance version, which came out first, got generally unfavorable reviews, but that the other versions of the game were much better received. In fact, it's pretty even across the block from all the major consoles of the era. GameCube gets a Metacritic of 77 out of 100, PS2 gets 76, and Xbox gets 77. So it really doesn't matter which platform you get this game on. The gameplay is going to be basically the same, except if you get it on Game Boy Advance, which I'm going to be the first to admit that doing anything in 3D on Game Boy Advance is pretty difficult, so if they were trying to make this look anything like the console versions, it was going to suffer. You can tell right away this is a midway game because it feels very much like NBA Jam, with the logos at the bottom that you can cycle through to unlock things like Big Head Mode, and the gameplay style is immediately that bim boom bang where you just try to score as quickly as possible. You're not waiting to really develop plays like a full-on football simulator like a Madden game. You just want to hit things and move fast and make quick choices and get the plays going and try to score as fast as possible. You can even see at the top you've got a time limit of 2 minutes per quarter, and those aren't seconds. It's moving faster than actual time, so you got to be fast on all of these plays, which is why it's called Blitz. You're moving quick. So I did some checking, and there was indeed an NFL Blitz 2003, and for whatever reason they tried to go back to Game Boy Advance again, and once again it got terrible reviews on GBAs, so not a good look to be on that platform, but on all the others it did alright. Our final game for this week is Tron Evolution for Nintendo DS, and I'm going to be honest, I picked it up largely because of the fact that it's Tron. Growing up, the original Tron was one of my all-time favorite movies. I watched it dozens of times as a kid. I had the soundtrack on vinyl. Sadly, I don't have it anymore because a friend of mine tried to use it like a disc jockey, only he didn't actually know how to DJ, so instead of running the record back and forth in the groove, he ran the needle of the tone arm back and forth across the record, so he made it unplayable by putting deep scratches in it all the way across. And that was the end of the Tron soundtrack on vinyl. If I ever find it again, I'll probably pick it up, but I imagine it will also cost me a pretty penny because I'm not the only person that was a fan of Tron, and Disney brought it back as a remake in the 2000s, which is the game we are seeing here. Unfortunately for me, this is very stylus based. I wanted to just pick up the Nintendo DS and really show you the gameplay, but trying to make selections while I'm holding it is not working out so well. And even when I did manage to get into the menu for a match, it seems to want to play multiple players instead of just letting me play as a single individual. And I can't figure out how to get it to progress without popping open the manual and figuring out why I just can't start a game. It's got 4 slots and it wants me to add 3 other players. Am I supposed to net link it somehow? I just want to play a game of Tron, man. Let me be the recognizers. Let me be the light cycles. Just let me do something. This empty slot bullshit is irritating. But I'll figure it out eventually. I'm not going to get rid of it because it's a Tron game, and Tron is something that's always going to appeal to me. Even just looking at these menus and listening to the background music is cool in and of itself. It's Tron. One of the greatest films of my youth. They can remake it 100 times, and I'll still appreciate it just because of that childhood nostalgia. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. As always, thanks for watching the Retro Hunting Adventures. I appreciate your support, your likes, your comments, your shares, and I'll see you all next week.